Hey, what's going on there? In this short video, I just want to go over a book summary as well as a review about the book called Never Split the Difference. It's about the head FBI hostage negotiator and really his experience. Which is it's just such a great book. I've read it once. I'm reading it a second time, so I highly recommend it. Before I do get started, down below there's a link, and if you click on it, there's training on how someone can make the most amount of money using social media. So as I said before, the book is really good. Okay, I highly recommend it. The first chapter goes over how Chris Voss, he's the one who wrote the book. Negotiating methods have been really applied to the real world and tweaked over the years. Up until the Nixon administration, a hostage negotiation was a process that was very limited to basically sending in troops and trying to shoot the hostages free. And as you could probably guess, when people started dying, they said, well, let's try something different. The second chapter, he goes over putting a smile on someone's face, like your face, helps people with their problem solving and thinking quickly. Supposedly some scientific studies on that. When it comes to the voice, there's 3 of them that he uses. There's a playful, positive tone, and this is really the default one he goes to. There's the late night DJ voice he uses to make a point, and which is very calm and very slow. And lastly, there's a very direct and assertive voice, which he rarely uses at all. Okay, now to get someone talking, because when someone talks, they're more likely to reveal information you can use against them, or whatever, or use to help with a deal. He uses a technique called mirroring, which is basically repeating the last 3 words someone just said. Next, he talks about if you label your counterpart's fears, it can diffuse their power, which is interesting. For example, if a sales clerk is really stressed out, you can say, "Well, it seems like you've been having a rough day, and you seem like you handle it pretty well." And then pause. Basically, what he says is that in any interaction, it pleases us to feel that the other side is listening and acknowledging our situation. We like to be heard. Right? Next up, he talks about listing the worst things the other person could say about you and say them before the other person can, which is interesting. These accusations often sound very exaggerated when said aloud, and speaking them will encourage the other person to claim quite the opposite is true, so they sound kind of, they sound out there. Chapter 4, he talks about breaking the habit of getting someone to say yes. Pushing for yeses. You're sure you've seen all the old car salesman techniques where they try to get you to say yes to a whole bunch of things. And next thing you know, you start feeling defensive, right? Like, well, why is this guy saying yes? What did I commit to? I don't want to say yes. It does kind of get someone's guard up. And what he says, he recommends getting people to say no, which I completely agree with. Getting someone to say no makes a person feel safe, secure, in control. We like that. And by saying what they don't want, your counterpart defines their space and gains confidence and comfort to listen to you more. So what he says is persuasion is about getting the other party to convince themselves that the solution that you want is in their own idea. They created the idea themselves. Kind of like the whole thing. We like to buy, but we don't like to be sold. It's true. So if a business partner is ignoring you, he says something like contact them with, have you given up on this project? Something like that. Getting them to say no is an idea. Now, here's the thing he talks about, which I thought was interesting. When someone is giving you advice, right, and you don't want to hear it, what do you say usually? You go, yeah, you're right. You say that because you want to get rid of them. And you don't want there to be no conflict. And according to Chris Voss, when you hear that's right instead of you're right, it's like this big breakthrough. It's kind of interesting. It is kind of true because when you hear you're right, sometimes they just want to get rid of you, I thought. Now, next, all negotiations are defined by a network of really subterranean desires and needs. For example, people in Haiti were like kidnapping people so they can go party with the money, right? But they were asking 20 times what they needed, just so they could try to get it out of people. So what he was talking about is you could bend your counterpart's reality by anchoring the starting point. To give you an example of this, I listed a coat on eBay, and I anchored the reality of brand new coats go for $300. I'm selling it for $100, right? So before you make an offer emotionally, anchor them by saying how bad it will be. He talks about when you get to numbers, set an extreme anchor to make your real offer seem reasonable, or use a range to seem more aggressive. And the real value of anything depends on what vantage point you're looking at it from. And this is a really cool thing. He has a whole system for negotiating like a price. Like if you want to negotiate a salary for a job, he talks about in the book to start like 60% like higher than what you want to be, drop it down three times. But then at the very last offer, you want an odd number, like you really thought about it. And then you start throwing out items that are not even price related, like a free toaster or a free back massage. Because psychologically, people know you're at your breaking point. You cannot do any more. They go, okay, I got as much as I can out of them. We're stopping. And there's a whole psychology behind it. So it's a fantastic book, as you can see. Also, remember, no deal is better than a bad deal. So always be prepared to walk away. Okay. Next up, it's better to ask questions to begin with, a how or a what. By asking for help, these questions will give your counterpart an illusion of control and will inspire them to speak at length and thus reveal information. And you don't want to ask questions that start with a why, okay? Unless you want your counterpart to defend a goal that serves you. Why really is an accusation in any language? Makes sense, right? Like, why did you do that? Yeah, there you go. So you want to calibrate your questions to point your counterpart towards solving your problem, which is genius. Such as, how am I supposed to pay you when I have no money? Or how is a powerful word, because it forces your counterpart to explain how a deal will be implemented. So what he says is negotiating is often the art of letting someone else have your way. Interesting. Next, it's important to analyze the entire negotiating space and the deal killers, which are very important. Like he asks, how does this affect the rest of your team? And he tells some very great stories in there too. There's something called the 7-38-55 rule. What this means is 7% of communication is based on the words. 38% comes from the tone of the voice, and 55% comes from body language and someone's facial movements. That's why he will travel very far to meet someone in person, because you can get a lot more information from face to face than you can with just talking on the phone. He goes over liars, which is I'm only going to brush this, but liars use a lot more words than truth tellers. They start talking about him, her, it, one, they, and their, rather than I, in order to put some distance between themselves and the lie. They also speak in complex sentences, use these big words, like, is this bullshit? Next up, there's a lot of power in introducing yourself and giving your name, and to humanitize yourself. So you're in the friend zone, right? You're not just a stranger. My name's Kevin. Hello. It just helps. You get a better deal, supposedly. The person across the table is never the problem. The unresolved issue is, so focus on the issue and always be ready to walk away. Never be needy. And this, I just brushed the surface of this book and what it goes over. It's a fantastic book. There's a ton of more knowledge to read, so I highly encourage you to check it out. If you like this video, I just want to give you a quick summary, some cool stuff about it. Just give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. If you're interested in making some money using social media, using the internet, it's a great idea, because we live in crazy times with no job security. And when you're broke, life somewhat sucks. You have no options. So I highly encourage you to click on that link below. And it's really training on not only how someone can make the most money using social media, and there's a lot of them out there, but it's the best education I've seen on the sales funnel that's converting, the upsells, the downsells, the follow-ups, and all that crazy crap that makes people pull out their wallet and buy something because it's not easy. We don't like to spend money, and that really is the hardest part. Okay, and that's what he goes over. So it's by far he's the best of the best that I've seen. I highly encourage you to click that link below and check it out, and take action. Okay, take a risk, and get it, use it, and you will make money. Okay. Anyways, I hope this video was enjoyable to you. You learned a couple things, and I wish you the best. And bye for now.